what I would do with one like me. Jeez.
Right.
After I flew tours over the volcano for 6 times a day, every day for 6 days a week for a year and a half, I realized it was not my dream job. I was so excited to be there initially, and I was telling the same jokes at the same place. If I didn't say the joke over the right macadamia nut field or over the volcano vent, I would get them mixed up because I'd said them too many times in the day. So I'd say them twice to the same people. So anyway, I got bored of flying tours, and I felt like I was losing my skill set as well, only ever landing and taking off at an airport. And so I started to get the itch, and I called up a girlfriend of mine that was living in Alaska, and she was telling me about the different jobs that she was flying every day. It all sounded so fascinating. I decided right then and there that I needed to experience that. And I ended up in Alaska the very next summer flying for a company called Jayhawk, who had R-44s, which was, at that point, it was a step back in aircraft, but I got to learn how to long line, and I got to do field work and start to do real actual, what I believe the helicopter is made to do. And that's the real work out in the field. And it was just the coolest job. And I had so many amazing opportunities, and I learned so much. I worked for him for a couple of years, maybe almost 3 seasons, and then ended up flying Hughes 500, doing the same type of work. But then I got into real precision long lining, and I was working on mineral exploration jobs where I was moving drills every few days, and really, really intense flying. Learned a lot and just absolutely loved it. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. No, I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm a captive audience. I'm just listening. I'm
Okay.
listening.
So I ended up, my first job for a company called Prism, they sent me out to Iliamna in Western Alaska, and I showed up on this job, and there's 5 other helicopters, and they're all super experienced, high time, precision long line pilots. And I was pretty new at it at the time. And I remember getting off the plane and then getting into my little hotel room and just like, all right, am I up for this? Can I do this? And I wasn't super confident, but I went to sleep early, got up the next morning all ready to go to work for my first big day. And I took a shower, and in the shower, I just stood there and I just hugged myself. I wrapped my arms around myself and I said, look, you got this. You got this. That was such a confidence booster. And for some reason, I don't know how I thought to do that day, but it has become part of my daily habit. And I've hugged myself every single morning, ever since. And that was in 2009. And I ended up learning a lot, and I did well. And I just absolutely loved that job. Really stepped up my game as far as precision long lining. I was able to move drills, ended up going back onto another project where I had been the small helicopter that moved the people before. And now I was in the big helicopter moving the drills, and all the little helicopters were kind of looking up to me, which it was a full fun turn of perspective for me. But yeah, ended up really honing my skills doing that, and worked with that was mostly mineral exploration, but I did end up getting into electric as well. So I've worked with a lot of linemen. I mean, it's a tough job, and there's a lot of precise stuff that has to happen in it. And safety is obviously number one. And you being in that industry, it's cool to be able to talk to you about it, because it's a whole different world that most people don't know anything about.
Yeah, that's why I'm amazed by it. Go ahead.
Long story short, I ended up in Valdez with 2 partners on a helicopter, and these 2 guys both wanted to learn how to fly, and I was the commercial helicopter pilot. One of them is businessman and the other one's maintenance guy. So the 3 of us together, we created this amazing team, and we decided to start our own business. I ended up flying so many more jobs than I ever possibly imagined in this little small town. The telephone company was upgrading all of their sites to better capabilities. I ended up flying almost every day. When my 2 partners really wanted to go fly for fun, I would say, no, you can't use the helicopter, because I actually have jobs for it. And so at the end of that summer,
leave it to 2 guys to run the business into the ground. Just run the business into the ground. Yeah, no, go ahead. Leave it to the 2 males to do that. Them.
So what ended up happening is, the end of that summer, we kind of looked at our finances and said, well, hey, we just did really well this summer. Why don't we buy a brand new helicopter from the factory, and then we'll have 2 helicopters. So then next summer, when you guys want to go and fly your private helicopter, you can. I ended up hiring a pilot. So it was me and another pilot that next season. We ended up with so much work. I couldn't believe it. And I told the guys, nope, sorry, you can't fly your private helicopter, because I need it for jobs. And the same thing happens every year. We just had so much business. It was really cool. Way more than I could have ever imagined. And ended up with, we've bought 4 helicopters throughout the year, actually 5, bought a hangar, bought a fuel facility, just kind of bootstrapped this whole business without ever going into debt. Pretty proud of that. Continued with my whole theory of how debt really holds you down.
How long of a time period from the time you got to Valdez till you had 4 helicopters?
5 years.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
5 years. Yep. Yeah, we expanded really quickly. And there's no way I could have done that without my 2 partners too. They're both big thinkers. One of them is a big dreamer. The other's a big thinker. And I'm a let's go get it. And so between the 3 of us, I think we really just made a good team. And we said, let's just do this until it's not fun anymore. And we did. Actually, about 8 years into it, I was like, okay, guys, this isn't really fun anymore. And then, okay, 9th year, let's continue a little bit, but I think we're going to start winding down. 10th year was this year. We found a buyer. We found a buyer that was a perfect buyer. They do the same thing that we do. And they ended up buying the company. We closed on the deal a little over 2 months ago.
Oh, wow. I did not realize that. I knew you sold the company, but I didn't know it was that recent.
Yeah, it was COVID time. I still cannot believe that during COVID, we were all able to, with the buyers and the sellers, like all of us coming together and making it happen quickly and seamlessly. And all of my employees continued on with them. So there was nobody lost jobs over it. It was just a really nice, smooth transition. Mm-hmm. And they're a great company, and they're going to continue with great things with the business. But for me, it wasn't fun anymore. And I wanted to maybe do something else with my life. We'll see what the next road brings.
From what you told me, I'm really surprised that you got bored with it, because you haven't done a lot in your life. You haven't really got out and seen a lot, traveled any at all. I'm really surprised that you would have, I'm right? Actually surprised you lasted 10 years, honestly, without getting bored sooner. But yeah.
That's funny.
Wow, what a career. And so you're, I guess, retired is probably not, you told me that in a message, but I don't think that Leigh is ever going to be retired. Maybe from a day job for a little bit, but I don't see you just hanging it up and like some of the folks I talk to. I don't see you being that person.
I think you might be right. There might be some things down the road. I absolutely love not having responsibility, and it wasn't boredom. It was more of stress and just not being enjoyable anymore. So for me right now, I'm just taking a big breather, and I'm super enjoying my free time. Oh, and we kept 1 helicopter. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but sold the business, kept 1 helicopter, and now I'm truly flying for fun, and it's a whole different mentality. So when I'm flying from point A to point B as a commercial helicopter pilot on a job, I'm like, boom, I'm getting there, the most direct route. And now I'm like, oh, I can meander. I can go check out this mountain. Oh, there's a ridge over here. Maybe I'll land and have lunch over here. Oh, there might be an ice cave. I'll go check out that cave and see how it looks inside. I'm kind of really enjoying my newfound freedom. And this is the part where I understand that people may be envious, and it's something I almost don't even want to tell people, that I'm just flying for fun, but I am. And it was a hard, long road to get here, and I'm going to soak up every minute of it.
You worked your ass off.
Yes.
Honestly, you paid your dues. I don't think anybody, if they knew your whole story, would be as envious as the road you traveled as they would the destination. Just a couple more things I want to talk about. So there's a lot, but we're going to run out of time here soon. You're the first female to fly the jet suit. You want to talk to me about that?
Right.
Little deal.
Okay, so I know this sounds crazy, right? But yes, this is another thing that I called up my poor mom and said, hey, Mom, I'm going to go and fly a jetpack. And she's like, you're going to do what? I'm like, yep, I'm going to go fly a jetpack. And so I actually learned about jetpack aviation from one of my passengers one day. And looked them up, and turns out that there is an actual jetpack. There's a guy named David Mayman who's done a ton of work on it. He said, yes, you can come to the very first training session for non-military, for anybody outside of our company and non-military. And so I signed up, I paid the money, and I went and I got to fly a jet suit. And this was all on a tether, very safe. We're all wearing aluminum pants with the fire retardant suit, all the PPE. And I got to be the very first woman in the world to fly the jetpack aviation jetpack. I did that twice. I absolutely loved it, and I would continue doing it again, but I might go broke because it's not cheap. And people are like, "Oh, you're so lucky. How did you do that?" I'm like, "Well, it was really expensive. Just save all your money and you spend it on the things that are important to you. I don't buy shoes. I just go to jetpack school." So, um, then I learned about Gravity Industries, who makes a jet suit. And there's a guy named Richard Browning over in the UK that actually figured out how he could make a real suit that's almost like Iron Man, where you've got 2 engines on either arm, 1 on your back. And between those 3 areas of thrust, you've created a tripod and you can fly with your body a jet suit. And so I learned about that. I called him up and I immediately made contact and agreed to join in one of their trainings. I was not the first woman to fly it, but I am the very first and only woman that has ever flown it now off the tether. So I did a couple training sessions, and then I went out into a field and flew it off of the tether completely. And I think that between my helicopter skills, my snowboarding skills, my yoga skills, which I haven't even talked about with you, and my jetpack experience.
Oh, we're getting there. We're
okay.
We're getting.
I think
keep going.
All of those things came together, and I was like, this is what was born to do. Like, my whole life has led up to this culmination of being able to fly this jet suit. And I did it well, and they actually invited me to join their team. They have a team of jet suit pilots. There are 6 of us. Well, we were all set to go do our very first big race, and that was going to be in Bermuda on March 21st. In fact, there's a container with all of our jet suits that are basically, it's sitting in Bermuda, and it got canceled because of COVID. I should say postponed. It got postponed. They surprised me with an orange helmet and an orange flight suit, because that's my color. It's the same color as all my helicopters as well. And I am the world's first Gravity jet suit race team pilot.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I think some of the videos, do you mind if I give out your Instagram?
No, I've got 2 Instagrams, actually. I have Leigh Yogi Pilot, which is basically my yoga account. And then I also have Heli Pilot Leigh, which is more about, it's basically all of my flying. And the Heli Pilot Leigh account was my company account, but I was able to take it over after the sale, make it more personal. And I'm having a lot of fun sharing that part of my world with people, because I haven't really shared that before on social media. It's been mostly yoga.
It's so cool. Some of the places you go in the helicopter and the things that you see, it's amazing to me. I mean, like I say, I grew up in Tennessee, but here in Florida, Flatlander, but the places you go, and I think the last one I saw, you sat down on top of a mountain, 5,000 feet. So cool. That's so cool. So
it's amazing. Like, the places that I get to see and to be able to share it with people. That's what I love so much about social media, is that I can take these things that I know people have never seen before and be able to share them, and hopefully inspire people to maybe see outside of the bubble of what society is for them at their home. You know, it's there's just so much more to this world. My goal is to share it with people.
Well, you do a very good job of it, and your Heli Pilot Leigh, Leigh Instagram account, you have about 5,000 followers, but just just by chance, I clicked on the Leigh Yogi Pilot. You have almost 100,000 followers on your yoga page.
Isn't that wild?
You post something every single day.
I do.
Here?
Every day. And I actually teach yoga on my page. So I host challenges, and what yoga did for me in my life after my car accident is something that's really special. And I really want other people to understand that moving your body and in a mindful way can change your world, and it can help you live longer. It can help you think better. It can help you stay healthy and strong, your immune system, all of it. There's so many good things with yoga that my goal is to share it with the world and make it accessible and not intimidating. So I actually share little tips and tricks on things that you can do at home all the time.
So physically, yoga has helped you. Have you been doing it ever since the accident, or did you do it? When did you start doing yoga, I guess?
I was introduced to it. I feel like I've done it my whole life, because even my mom took me to yoga classes when I was maybe 3, and I'd sit in the corner while she did yoga. So it's been a part of my world forever, but I really was reintroduced to it after my accident, and then more so once I was in Hawaii, and I ended up practicing with a master teacher there. But I did a yoga teacher training in 2011, so a 1 month immersion of a 200-hour training. So I'm qualified to teach. I never really have gotten into teaching regularly because I've been on another career. But then in 2005, I got into the Instagram yoga, and that really helped me to focus on a home practice. So if I had to take one picture a day for a yoga challenge, then that got